a certain Cerinthus taught in Asia that the world was not made by the first God, but by some power which was separated and distant from the authority that is above all things, and which was ignorant of the God who is above all things. He proposes Jesus, not as having been born of a virgin, for this seemed impossible to him, but as having been born the son of Joseph and Mary like all other men, and that he excelled over every person in justice, prudence, and wisdom. After his baptism, Christ descended on him in the shape of a dove from the authority that is above all things. Then he preached the unknown Father and worked wonders. But at the end Christ again flew off from Jesus. Jesus indeed suffered and rose again from the dead, but Christ remained impassible, since he was spiritual. John, the disciple of the Lord, preaches this faith, and seeks, by the proclamation of the gospel, to remove that error which by Cerinthus had been disseminated among men, and a long time previously by those termed Nicolaitans, who are an offset of that knowledge, falsely so called, that he might confound them, and persuade them that there is but one God, who made all things by his word. There are also those who heard from him, Polycarp, that John, the disciple of the Lord, going to bathe at Ephesus, and perceiving Cerinthus within, rushed out of the bathhouse without bathing, exclaiming,
"Let us flee, lest even the bathhouse fall down, because Cerinthus, the enemy of the truth, is within."
And Polycarp himself replied to Margin, who met him on one occasion, and said, "Do you know me? I do know you, the firstborn of Satan." Such was the horror which the apostles and their disciples had against holding even verbal communication with any corrupters of the truth. As Paul also says,
"A man that is an heretic, after the first and second admonition, reject, knowing that he that is such is subverted, and sinning, being condemned of himself."
Then, again, the church in Ephesus, founded by Paul, and having John remaining among them permanently until the times of Trajan, is a true witness of the tradition of the apostles.
And there are those that heard from him, Polycarp, that John, the disciple of the Lord, going to bathe in Ephesus, and seeing Cerinthus within, ran out of the bathhouse without bathing, crying, "Let us flee, lest even the bath fall, because Cerinthus, the enemy of the truth, is within." But Irenaeus, in the first book of his work against heresies, gives some more abominable false doctrines of the same man, and in the third book relates a story which deserves to be recorded. He says, on the authority of Polycarp, that the apostle John once entered a bath to bathe, but, learning that Cerinthus was within, he sprang from the place and rushed out of the door, for he could not bear to remain under the same roof with him. And he advised those that were with him to do the same, saying, "Let us flee, lest the bath fall, for Cerinthus, the enemy of the truth, is thin." And again, when St. John himself was preaching in Asia, it is reported that he did an extraordinary thing as an example of the truth. Although his way of life was most admirable and appropriate to his apostolic rank and he never bathed, he was compelled to approach the bath by the Holy Spirit, who said, "Look what is at the bath." To his companion's surprise, he actually went to the bathing room, approached the attendant who took the bather's clothes, and asked who was inside in the bathing room. And the attendant stationed there to watch the clothes. "Some people do this for a living in the gymnasia," said to St. John, "Ebion is inside." But John understood at once why the Holy Spirit's guidance had impelled him to approach the bath. As I said, as a memorial to leave us the truth's advice as to who Christ's servants and apostles are, and the sons of that same truth, but what the vessels of the evil one are, and the gates of hell, though these cannot prevail against the rock, and God's holy church which is founded on it. Becoming disturbed at once and crying out, John said in an aside audible to all, as a testimony and evidence of undefiled doctrine, "Let's get out of here in a hurry, brothers, or the bath may fall and bury us along with the person who is inside in the bathing room, Ebion, because of his impiety." And no one need be surprised to hear that Ebion met John. The blessed John had a very long life, and survived till the reign of Trajan.
Now against this heretic wrote, now only those previously mentioned, but with them were Gaius and Dionysius, the bishop of Alexandria, as did the divine John, the evangelist, who saw this one in the baths, for it happened that he frequented the baths because of ill health. He said,
"Let us flee from here, lest the bathhouse collapse because of Cerinthus, and we ourselves participate in the damage."
Anicius Aulshenius Bassus, of senatorial rank, proconsul of Campania, deputy of imperial appeals. The appearance of the baths was ruinous, their ugliness was dirty, and dangerously unstable overhanging structures threatened to collapse, which used to keep the bathing populace away out of a fear of being worried. I repaired the building by entirely shutting out the decay of old age, until it was solid, stable, and usable, and made it into a better emblem of the city. Stranger, you are looking at a statue here of a faithful, exceedingly wise wife, my Scholastica. When a part leaned within, she gave most of the money for renovation,